Welcome to RoofScreen. Today, we will be showing you how to install SoundGuard, an acoustic panel system from RoofScreen Manufacturing. SoundGuard is engineered for acoustical enclosures and noise barriers where structural integrity, sound absorption, and transmission loss are of major concern. The SoundGuard system is engineered to be mounted over open framing such as the RoofScreen framing system or structural steel supports. This video will cover the basic techniques for installation, but please keep in mind that every project is unique and some details may not be covered in these instructions. Before starting the installation, it is important to review your shop drawings in conjunction with your installation manual. These drawings contain detailed information on how to properly install SoundGuard on your specific project. This installation guide assumes framing or subframing is already installed. For an overview of how to install our framing systems, check out the videos linked in the description below. Perforated liner panels are installed vertically and mounted to horizontal framing members or girts. They are fastened with the included tech screws. In this demonstration, we're installing the SoundGuard system onto 2x2 galvanized steel horizontal girts and our square post support system. Begin by installing the first panel in a run as close to the corner or end condition as possible. Fasten the panel in place, ensuring the top of the panel is at the desired height. Use a level to ensure it is perfectly plumb. In order to maintain a consistent screen height throughout your run, we recommend using a laser level or a nylon string line stretched end to end on each straight section of screen. Be sure that your string line is as tight as possible to ensure there's no sag. Install the remaining panels by sliding each one up to the string, but do not touch it. This is important because if the panels push the string up even a fraction, your panels will start to go uphill. I'll install the remaining liner panels and we'll see you at the next step. At the end of each straight run, the last panel may need to be modified to fit the remaining space. To modify a liner panel for the end condition, first, measure how much panel is needed to complete the run of screen. Then, cut the panel, ensuring to save the portion with the inward bent flange. This will allow the end panel to retain the acoustical insulation, which you will see at a later step. Here, I'm installing the portion of liner panel that was trimmed to fit the remaining length of the SoundGuard assembly. Note that I have accounted for some extra length of liner panel to tuck under the neighboring panel. This ensures a continuous lining surface. Next, we will install the retainer trim. The retainer trim is designed to act as a closure to protect and secure the acoustic insulation that we will be installing in the next step. The retainer trim is fastened to the front flanges on the legs of the perforated liner panels with the provided tech screws. Here, I'm using clamps to keep the trim in place while I install the tech screws. With the retainer trim installed, we can install the blocks of mineral wool acoustical insulation. The insulation blocks are 24 inches wide and they will fit perfectly between the perforated liner panel flanges. Depending on how tall the screen is or where your end condition is located, you may have to trim some of the insulation. This is easily done with an insulation knife or box cutter. Place the insulation blocks into the liner panels, letting them rest on the retainer trim. The mineral wool insulation panels come in lengths of 4 feet. Our system in the shop is 5 feet tall, so we've cut 12-inch segments of insulation and installed them before installing full-length panels. After installing the first full-length segment of insulation, I'm installing stitch screws between the perforated liner panels. This will help hold the liner panels together. Installing the stitch screws as you go will help prevent tearing of the insulation as you slide them into place. It also helps to retain the insulation between the flanges as you move along. At the end condition, if your liner panel has been cut to a smaller section, you will likely need to modify the insulation to fit between the smaller area. The SoundGuard system is designed for aesthetics as well as noise control. The outward face of the system can be covered with any type of panel or other architectural claddings. Installing face panels is quite different for vertical and horizontal panel orientations. In this demonstration, we will be showing how to install both horizontal rib panels and vertical flush panels. We start here with horizontal rib panels. Horizontally oriented panels are mounted directly to the front flanges of the liner panels that we installed previously using color-matched tech screws. I've used a level to mark where I want to install the screws, making sure that they will hit the flange of the liner panel and they are in a straight up and down line. Depending on the screen height, multiple rows of panels may be required. Install the lower row first and upper rows last. The color-matched tech screw should be installed into each bottom flute of the rib panels. To terminate the top of the panel at the desired screen height, overlap ribs on the panel below or cut the top of the panel to the desired height. In this demonstration, we've elected to overlap the rib panels to achieve the desired screen height. If possible, this way is preferable to avoid unnecessary cutting in the field. While it is possible to install a system of this size by yourself, a helping hand is always beneficial in streamlining the process. Now I'm going to finish installing the rest of the panels with the tech screws, and I'll see you at the next step. Once all face panels have been installed, finish trims can be installed on the top, corners, and end conditions to provide a clean, finished look. Methods for installing trims depends on the type of panels being used, as well as the style of trim. Corner and edge trims are typically fastened with color-matched screws approximately every 12 inches on center. After that, a trim cap is installed along the top edge of the panel, fastened approximately every 36 inches with the same color-matched screws. In this installation, I'm installing the top cap screws in line with the panel screws below. This will aid in giving the finished product a clean look. With all trims in place, that concludes the installation of the SoundGuard system with horizontal ribbed face panels. Next, we will demonstrate the installation of vertical flush panels on the system. Unlike horizontal panels, which are fastened directly to the liners, vertically oriented panels need to be secured to horizontal members. The SoundGuard system utilizes hat channels, which mount across the flanges of liner panels over the insulation, serving as an attachment point for the vertical panels. Before installing hat channels, we need to measure and mark their intended location on the flanges of the liner panels. Refer to your shop drawing for details to determine the proper hat channel positions. Once the hat channel positions have been determined and marked, hold the hat in place and attach to the liner panel flanges with the specified tech screws. Repeat this process for each row of hat channels to be installed. For long sections of hat channel, it can be helpful to use large vice grip clamps to hold the hats to the liner panel flanges while adjusting and fastening. Hat channels are supplied in up to 20-foot lengths. On long runs of screen, splices may be required. Consult your shop drawings for details on making the splice connection. In some cases, self-adhering foam blocks are needed to ensure the acoustic insulation is adequately supported. On a flush panel, the block should be installed along the inside of the panel seam. Typically, blocks are needed when there are large spacings between hats or where breaks or modifications in the insulation occur. Now, the assembly is prepared for vertical panel installation. Starting at one corner, set the height of the panel to match the top of the liner panels installed previously. It is critical to ensure the first face panel is installed perfectly plumb, as it will dictate the height and level of the subsequent panels you install. The flush panels are secured to the hat channels with tech screws. The screws are driven through the extended tab of the female end of the panel. The male end of the subsequent panel contains a hemmed tab which slots into the previously installed panel, concealing the fastener heads and providing a clean aesthetic. Once this next panel is secured, we can stitch the two neighboring panels together using tech screws at the top and bottom. Continue installing the face panels around the screen, maintaining a consistent panel height. Once all face panels are fastened and stitched, finished trims can be installed. This process is the same as showcased for the horizontal panels. Install trims at the end conditions and along the top of the assembly using color match tech screws. Fastener spacing for the trims will be detailed in your shop drawings. This concludes the installation of vertical flush panels on the SoundGuard assembly. At the conclusion of installing any RoofScreen product, we always recommend a thorough cleaning of the job site and final quality control inspection. Vacuum or sweep up all metal shavings. Pick up any screws or other miscellaneous items that may have been dropped to prevent damaging the roof membrane. And that's it. By following these procedures, you will have a successful SoundGuard installation. Check out our other videos for installation guidance for some of our other products.